Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon, Mr. Minister.
Chokon. Your man say we can start on time. Now call the press conference to order. You still putting your camera on now. Anyway, let me stand on existing protocols as laid down by the Director of Press, the Ministry of Information, to welcome all of you, professional media practitioners, our compatriots who are following via the state broadcaster, those who are also viewing or following the various social media feeds here across the country and in the diaspora. We'd like to welcome you to this Thursday edition of the MICAT regular press briefing. This week is a very significant week in the history of our country. As we outlined here last Tuesday, that Liberia bid for re-election to the World Maritime Council Category A was launched on Monday. Our country bid for election to the non-permanent seat of the Security Council of the United Nations is also on course. As a matter of fact, news that we've gathered from Washington suggests that that bid is on an irreversible trajectory. Nothing can stop it. And so the momentum is building across the country, across the globe. That Liberia, a founding member of the United Nations, is about to be elected to the echelon of global decision making, the UN Security Council. When we talk about it, we continue to outline the significance that this position, this election brings for Liberia. We have not gotten elected yet, though. Just because people are sure that we're going to get elected, a high-power delegation from India is coming here. They're coming here because India got some issues. And as a prospective member of the UN Security Council, people will start to lobby you. And in exchange, we can leverage our position to get good things happening for our country. India, don't forget, it's a global economic powerhouse. So for some of the doubting Thomases who think that this country, nothing good will ever come here, we have heard some of them go on the radio and say, oh, we don't want Liberia to get the bid because the government is doing this, the government is doing that. That's wishful thinking, for God's sake. We'll call some of them out because the tendency for people to celebrate success, we can say success happening in Liberia. As soon as we get a bid, they will start to issue statements, but some of them are on record. They are on record to have said that Liberia should not get it at all. Some of them now saying, oh, all the noise they're making about Security Council, we initiated it. You initiated it, but they call you to do a short video to support this country bid for the seat. What have you done? You issue one press statement and say you can't be part of it. In fact, it will not be good for Liberia to be elected because according to you, the government does not respect the rule of law. Well, you will respect the rule of law, the Supreme Court rule now, that you'll be evicted from your party headquarters. I hope you respect the Supreme Court ruling. And don't clinch on to a private property and say, oh, we are the bigger opposition, so we can be removed from here. All the laws you make about respecting the rule of law, the Supreme Court has ruled. They have upheld the eviction. So, after the press conference, you must take your camera to the people across Lone Star Cell, the illegal occupants. Ask them, when are you evicting this facility? Because the court has upheld the ruling. But that's okay. As a country, we are a very complex society, and there are people who believe that their own view should be, the country should be running their own view the way they want it to be. But we are a government, and as a government, we have an agenda, and that agenda is going to guard this country. The first endeavor was to lift this country from the dungeon where our friends plunge it to a level where it can be recognized among the Committee of Nations. Today our president is at ECOWAS. The foreign minister is leading a delegation for our election. We have people in the UK managing our bid for re-election to Category A of the World Maritime Council. These are good things that happen for our country. On the local front, development continues to unfold. From the energy sector, road infrastructure, agriculture, healthcare, all these things are happening simultaneously because you have a government that is responsible, a government that has a vision. And it is by that vision that we want to govern this country. So we are happy to be back here at another edition of the MICAT regular press briefing. Mr. Director General of the Civil Service Agency, we'd like to welcome you again. MICAT has become your home. And as a ministry, we are proud of the work that you have done to transform the CSA. Don't forget that the CSA was one of the entities that was severely bastardized by the past government. That entity became the employment ground for incompetent partisans. They flooded the payroll, they violated the standing order of the CSA. It became a problem for the government. That is why they could not even pay civil service on time. And in an effort to address that problem they created for themselves, they introduced a bookers harmonization policy that drastically reduced the salary of already underpaid civil servants. Today, the government of Liberia, headed by His Excellency President Joseph Boakai, working in conformity with the recommendation of the CSA, is gradually undoing harmonization. The judiciary, the salary have returned to pre-harmonization status. In critical sectors, there have been salary top-ups. And when I say critical sector, you know what I'm talking about: the security, healthcare, academic sector, all these critical sectors affected by salary top-ups. We're not going to stop there. We are continuing we continue to do what we're supposed to do to repair the damage that we inherited as a government. Because the Liberian people deserve better. No excuses. We inherited these challenges, we are taking it head on. And the ministry, if you doubt what I'm saying about the CSA, look at the Ministry of Information. There's a place that was a death set. Nobody heard the Ministry of Information in the last 6 years. Today, the Ministry of Information is leading the government information dissemination efforts. Beyond that, we are transforming the ministry that hosts the government spokes entity. So it's the transformation is just everywhere. So let me go into what I have to share with you briefly before we can invite the Director General of the Civil Service he has some very important information to provide to you. Every time Mr. Joka mounts the podium, something new has to happen. So, ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, observed its 50th anniversary with a renewed call for unity amongst member states. At a ceremony held in Monrovia, ECOWAS resident representative to Liberia, Madam Josephine Nkrumah, urged Liberians and fellow West Africans to reflect on the founding fathers' vision of a unified and prosperous region. She emphasized the founding fathers' dream of a unified, prosperous West Africa, laid the foundation for regional strength that we celebrate today. In her remarks, Madam Nkrumah emphasized Liberia's critical role in the establishment of ECOWAS. She went on to recall Liberia's earlier contribution from 1959 Sannincoli Conference to President William V. S. Tubman's 1964 call for a regional economic union. And that union eventually led to the formation of what is now known as ECOWAS in 1975 as 16 member states. And so on the international front, our President, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai, joined other African leaders in Lagos, Nigeria, to sign a landmark declaration commemorating the 50th anniversary of ECOWAS. The event marked 5 decades of regional cooperation, with leaders reaffirming their commitment to peace, security, democratic governance, economic integration, and addressing challenges like terrorism, climate change, and youth unemployment. President Boakai, in his remark, emphasized Liberia's dedication to regional solidarity and praised ECOWAS' achievement in conflict resolution across the region. The ceremony took place at the same venue where ECOWAS funding treaty was signed in 1975, with the declaration signed in multiple official languages by member states. The anniversary serves as both a moment of reflection and a call to action for advancing ECOWAS Vision 2050. This vision aims for a peaceful, prosperous, and inclusive West Africa. I indicated in my intro that this week marks a significant week for Liberia. Talking about IMO, UN Security Council, our distinguished finance minister, Honorable Augustine B. Gafuan, has been elected as chair of the African Development Bank, constituency number 15. And of course, constituency number 15 comprises Liberia, Ghana, the Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Sudan. All of these are taking place at the annual meeting of the African Development Bank taking place in neighboring Ivory Coast. And I have to say that Mr. Gaffan will serve a 3-year term starting August 1st, 2025, and he is expected to succeed Honorable Sekou A.F. Bangura from the Republic of Sierra Leone. Mr. Rufus N. Dakote, a permanent Liberian public servant, will conclude his 3-year tenure as Executive Director of Constituency 15 on August 1st, 2025. Mr. Gaffan praised the services of Mr. Dakote and expressed confidence in the new leadership's ability to continue advancing Africa Development Bank's goals within the ensuing period. Mr. Gaffan concurrently was elected chairperson of the African Development Bank Standing Committee on condition of service for elected officials during the April IMF World Bank Spring Meeting. He is also invited to participate as a panelist in a knowledge event on building effective institutions in Africa to attract capital for development scheduled May 30th, 2025, alongside other high-level officials. The multi-actor platform on land governance and responsible agricultural investment in Liberia will host a 2-day roundtable discussion from May 29 to 30th, 2025 in Monrovia, bringing together more than 100 stakeholders to assess progress and plan future land governance activities. The gathering will include representatives from the government of Liberia, international development partners, civil society organizations, community-based groups, traditional and religious leaders, youth, persons with disabilities, and other state and non-state actors. The forum will focus on reviewing the outcomes of the second National Land Conference, which was held in September 2024 in Gompa City, Nema County, where participants evaluated land governance reforms and issued key policy recommendations. Public Works Minister Roland Lafayette-Giddings has officially dedicated the newly reconstructed RTI Bridge in Riverside County. The dedication took place on 27 May 2025. I have to indicate that the original bridge collapsed in December 2024 after a truck exceeding the 25-ton weight limit attempted to cross. The reconstruction was completed efficiently by the Ministry of Public Works Bridge Unit. Minister Giddings emphasized the government commitment to infrastructure safety and urged strict enforcement of road regulations. The minister called on the security forces to monitor vehicular traffic diligently to prevent future overloading. Local leaders expressed gratitude and pledged to support the government quest for compliance. The minister also announced plans to pave the coastal highway within a year to enhance trade and connectivity in the region. And his visit was climaxed at the Grand Bassa University Bridge, where he also reassured the public that the bridge will be completed and installed by August 2025. The government continued to explore avenues to address our current situation of food insecurity. And against the backdrop, the government, in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization, have launched what they call the Sustainable Rice Value Chain Enhancement for Food Security Project in Liberia. The project is funded by the FAO Technical Cooperation Committee. It aims to enhance national food security through improved rice production, reduce dependency on imports, job creation, and a stronger agricultural sector. The initiative is backed by our international partners and is expected to run up to December 2026. More so, the FAO, in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture on this project, will address one of Liberia's most pressing agricultural challenges, the post-harvest losses. It is closely aligned with the newly adopted Zero National Post-Harvest Strategy 2024-2029 and the National Agricultural Development Plan 2024-2030. This initiative is an important milestone towards donor support for the National Agricultural Development Plan that is aligned with the ARREST agenda for inclusive development. The Ministry of Agriculture, with funding from the World Bank through the Rural Economic Transformation Project, RETRAP, has also completed the distribution of agricultural tricycles to young farmers in southeastern Liberia to address the difficulties farmers face in transporting their produce from farm to market in inaccessible areas. All counties in the southeast are expected to benefit from these tricycles donation. Each of the tricycle is built with a carrier that takes dozens of kilograms of agricultural products and is pliable in any terrain. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that a tricycle will be operated by youth and ease the transportation burden for rural smallholder farmers. Youth involvement in agriculture can be potentially lessen and challenges of food security and youth unemployment. This activity aims to reduce rural poverty and hunger by enhancing market access for actors within the agricultural value chain, while at the same time promoting youth agricultural entrepreneurship and sustainable employment. The government of Liberia has signed a landmark agreement to launch a pilot national health insurance scheme to provide affordable health care coverage for thousands of vulnerable citizens, including persons with disabilities, unsupported pregnant women, unemployed youth and women, and children involved in street trading, effective July this year. To start the program, a memorandum of understanding among the Liberia Telecommunication Authority, the National Identification Registry, and the National Insurance Corporation of Liberia, MICAT, with enrollment scheduled to begin in July as indicated earlier. The health insurance pilot program will initially target about 3,000 to 5,000 Liberians. The Minister of Justice appeared on the local talk show yesterday and spoke to issues surrounding the justice sector of the country. But I'd like to use this opportunity to emphasize something very important that he said. He revealed that the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission is finalizing its investigative report on alleged corruption at the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. Minister Twell also disclosed that ongoing investigation into other institutions, including the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, the LRRC, the National Oil Company of Liberia, focusing on its former CEO, and the National Road Funds are in the advanced stage. So while we're trying to make effort in other areas, we are not backing down on the fight against corruption. So as the public was reassured yesterday by the Honorable Attorney General, the LACC is concluding these reports, and when they have concluded, the next step will be announced to the public. The government of Liberia announced that an additional 4 individuals, patients who were initially diagnosed of the mpox virus, have been discharged. It has to be said that as a country we have experienced 0 fatality. And many thanks to the team from the National Public Health Institute and the Ministry of Health. They have done extremely well to ensure that this situation is brought under control. Today, May 29, is celebrated across the globe as International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers. As a country that has benefited tremendously from international peacekeeping efforts, we as a government and people, we wish to seize this moment to express our heartfelt appreciation to the brave men and women who stood with us during our nation's most difficult time. Their sacrifices and commitment play a crucial role in restoring peace to the motherland. The peace we now enjoy came at a painful cost, and we urge all citizens to continue to uphold and protect it at all costs. On this important occasion, as a government, we pay tribute to all men and women who have served and continue to serve in the United Nations peacekeeping missions around the world. Their dedication to global peace and security remains a source of hope and inspiration for us and the entire global community. Lastly, I initially intended to speak on the audit report on the Ministry of State that is circulating for the The DG will talk a lot about it, but I would just like to emphasize that the General Auditing Commission has published a report on the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, and the report reveals some troubling signs for our country. It reveals that over 3.5 million in overspending during the former administration from July 2018 to December 2021. Notably, between July 2020 and June 2021, the ministry spent 3.1 million against a budget just US 480,000. It goes on to say that similar overspending also occurred from July to December 2021. These findings highlights the concerns that we have shared about the past administration. The audit report on the Ministry of State also indicates that this government has saved the state about $76,440 by not paying claims from individuals on the supplementary payroll who failed to substantiate their record, that they were ever employed with the ministry, that they had contract, that they had employment letter. So this government has saved the country $76,440. That's a GSC report. The audit report also found that the government paid a total of $646,362.50 as handshake and 3 months salary to those employees, those who were on the supplementary payroll. The GSC went on to raise concern about some 74 employees. The Director General of the CSA will talk about that. But this is just to highlight that too many wrong things happen. And as a government, entrusted by the people to manage the affairs of the country, we try to address this thing. But the most frustrating aspect of our national discourse is when we see people who preside over the perishing of the country's resources, the mismanagement of state covers. When you see these people raising the chorus of accountability, then I tend to wonder, who really are we? But it's good that the Minister of Justice has said that the LSCC is concluding. And this other report, the LSCC has also invited certain individuals on the supplementary payroll. How it was supported, managed, millions of dollars cannot be accounted for. So it's good that the LSCC as an entity clothed with authority to investigate corruption allegations, just see the need to fast track some of these investigations. Because the government, one of the reasons why the people trust us is our anti-corruption credential. And so when these cases drag on and people try to use the court system to stifle the government fight against corruption, it hurts the country. So we don't want to take the time to call on all those in charge of investigating allegations of corruption to be expeditious. Just expedite the cases. It hurts when people who enter government enrich themselves. They now sit in a little cubicle and don't see the country beyond the narrow interest. And they go out there making noise about accountability. They have to account for their action. They have to account for their action. And so we'd like to stop there and now invite the outspoken Director General of the CSA to make his presentation. Director Joka will speak to you, and then after he concluded, we will entertain some questions from the press, and then we'll call it a day. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I got some papers here today, unlike the past appearances. and it's obvious that we've got these papers. Mr. Acting Minister, my dear friend and brother, Johnny Tapla, sorry, the Deputy Minister, Daniel Sano, Director of Farmland, the entire team here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. The last time when I was here, I asked whether or not it's safe for me to say tourism, but I was told I should continue to say tourism until the team can leave. Yeah, so we recognize you as such. And again, want to repeatedly thank you, commend you so profoundly for the good job that you continue to do here. I know what this compound looks like. A little on 1 year ago, when you assumed the leadership of this institution was dilapidated, it was somewhere very discouraging to come, unacceptable. But you've been able to transform it significantly, and it's not just the Ministry of Information, it's about government entities as well across the country that are being vigorously renovated, rehabilitated, modernized, and equipped to enhance our work and the work of the government. Taking cue from Deputy Minister Sano's statements about significant efforts being made by the government, I just want to add that if you go to the Civil Service Agency this afternoon, you will see Liberians in the testing center sitting the mock tests. The mock trial test has been going on since the 5th of May, and the CSA is doing this to test the efficiency of the modern computer-based testing system, which will be going live in June. So we want to make sure that the system is ready to go, and Liberians who register online come and register in person and sit the test and obtain their certificates, and it will put them in a better position to seek employment within Liberia's civil service. This is a major step towards instituting merit-based recruitment system within our civil service. So I just want to add that, yes, indeed, it is true, and we must commend the President, His Excellency Joseph Imabwaka Sr., for the political will, the support to all of us in government to be able to deliver services in keeping with our mandates. To begin with, I'd like to address the issue of the 74 contractors, I will call it, at the Ministry of State, captured in the General Auditing Commission's report. Let me indicate that the Civil Service Agency and the General Auditing Commission are working together very well on these transparency and accountability issues. When I appeared here a number of times last year, I told you and the public that many of the actions were taken to remove fictitious names from the payroll, ghost names from the payroll, some of them living ghosts, were possible because of the audit, the national payroll personnel audit that was conducted by the GAC, and the reports that were never implemented by the previous administration. When we took over, we worked with the GAC to initiate the implementation of the recommendations which serve our country very well, very, very well. But here's the thing about the current revelation. There are political offices in this country, when assumed by people, when they are leaving, their employees are supposed to leave along with them. We have a precedent in the legislature. Senators and representatives, when they come on with their personal staff who are not civil servants. The civil servants are direct government employees in the central administrations of the Senate and the House. That's why the CSA is wholly protective of those employees, because those are the people who stay there and perform professional services to to the government. But those who are employed with representatives and senators, they come with the politicians, and when the politicians are leaving, they go. So what the CSA is doing is drafting a policy that will be endorsed so that people who are employed in the offices of the President of the Republic, domestic staff, those in the Vice President's office, those in the Speaker's office, in the office of the President pro tempore, when any of those people are going, they all must go. They must not stay. The reason is simple. You must be comfortable with your domestic staff. The President must be comfortable with personal attendants. The President must be comfortable with chefs, their cook. The President must be comfortable with people who work for them at home. The Vice President, the President pro tempore, the Speaker, they must. So the CSA is reforming that aspect by instituting a policy that will be endorsed so that Mr. or Madam President, when you are leaving, your entire domestic staff will go. And that's why we put them on contract, fixed contracts. So the current situation is a classic example. The Civil Service Agency wrote the Ministry of State to provide us with the list of domestic staff on March 25th. Here is the letter. March 25th. Here is the letter received on the 26th. Everything is here. We wrote the ministry to furnish us with the comprehensive listing of all domestic staff of the President. And we had a meeting with the ministry and said that they will have to enter into fixed contracts, because when President Walker is leaving, all those domestic staff members will leave. When President Walker is re-elected, if at all he runs, they will stay. When he is leaving, they will all go. When new president is coming, Mr. or Madam President, they will come with their domestic staff with whom they will be comfortable with. But here's what's going to happen. The domestic staff is integrated into the centralized payroll system, even though they have contracts, fixed contracts, so that we pay them directly through the centralized payroll. There will be no separate payroll that you call supplementary payroll, because the Civil Service Agency is clearing all supplementary payrolls. We came here and we announced that to the public when we did the investigation at the House of Representatives. We submitted our analysis on the supplementary payroll. Before terminating that payroll, we announced that every government entity, we are on record for that is operating supplementary payroll must engage with the CSA to abolish the supplementary payroll. It was in that spirit that the Ministry of State invited us in March, and we had a meeting about their contractors' payroll constituting the domestic staff of the President. After that meeting, the CSA wrote the ministry requesting the ministry to submit the comprehensive listing of all those on the contractors' payroll. When we submitted this letter, here is the letter signed by the Minister of State for presidential effect, responding, submitting everything that we requested for, the contracts, the contractors' payroll. We deploy our analysts to analyze the payroll and to integrate the payroll into the Ministry of State's payroll that is managed by the Civil Service Agency. So these people are now going to be paid on a separate payroll called supplementary payroll. They'll be paid directly through the government collapsed centralized payroll. I intentionally use the word collapsed in keeping with the 2019 Remuneration and Standardization Act, which collapsed all remuneration, wages, and payment payrolls into one government centralized payroll. Any other payments that are supposed to be done outside of the government centralized payroll must be done through the established national policy guidelines system, which was instituted last year when the government took over. So I just wanted to clarify that the Ministry of State is not doing anything wrong. I know that the audit preceded the time that we started the conversation in March, meaning that the audit was ongoing. But in March, we engaged the ministry and we started the documents are here. They submitted the listings of all of them. Beyond the listing, we also have the payroll. The payroll is right there with him. We also have the payroll of these people, which we've integrated into the Ministry of State payroll so that you don't have the contractor's payroll different from the ministry's payroll. So what separates those domestic staff from the civil servants of the ministry is their contracts, so that at the end of their services, they can leave along with their boss. And when the policy is instituted, the policy is going to cover employees in the vice president's office, in the speaker's office, in the president pro tempore office, in the president's office, and the judiciary, the associate justices, their personal staff, once endorsed by the government. This is going to be a one government policy. Once endorsed by the government, they also, when they are leaving, their staff will leave along with them. Because those coming, the chief justice, the associate justices, they will also come with their domestic staff that they are comfortable with. So the CSA is instituting a policy to address that. I just thought to provide that clarification before I proceed with other matters for which I'm here today. Right, so you've been hearing in the news of late that Josiah Joker Jr., the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, and Honorable Augustine Pehe-Gafuan of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning have stolen $43 million. The first 2 weeks they started their diabolical campaign, they put the number to $43 million. And then after 2 weeks, they increased it by $5 million and say it's $48 million. But today we have come to address this issue. The first thing I will tell you is that in 2024, I showed you this the last time. In 2024, we publish our professionally acclaimed annual report. This annual report is published on our website. This annual report was officially unveiled here at the MICAT press briefing. We discussed all aspects of the annual report, including savings, workforce development, data we collected on the state of our civil service. We did everything with numbers in here. The World Bank, the EU, our major partners, they have this annual report, and the savings components from our intervention since we took over is captured in their reports. That's how authentic this annual report is. I will go to page 26 of the report. Page 26 covers total annual savings achieved in 2024 through our personnel verification process. For consultancy reforms, when we took over, we had up to 906 so-called consultants across government. We didn't have to ask anybody to shut that down. And that was also captured in the GSC report. So we're now acting out of the blues. We immediately shut it down. And did you know how much the government lost in servicing the 906 people? The government lost $6.1 million. I reported that here just for 2023. When we fix the consultancy problem, establish a regime through the national consultancy policy, do you know how much the government prevented us from losing going forward? $4.6 million. That's what we did. It's in this book. I will give it to some of you to capture. You can take pictures if you don't want to go to the website to download to read. I know we got a reading culture problem in our country, but I can share this with you. Yeah. So payroll cleanup process. So that was 906 removed consultants. Payroll cleanup process, $1.8 million. After we removed 5,500 fictitious names. And I'll tell you the truth, fictitious names. If a single one of these were legitimate employees, we were going to have war in Monrovia. We were going to have war in Monrovia. These are diabolical people. These are liars who concocted, formed syndicates, some of them living abroad and feasting on the government, parasites, defrauding the government. Some of them right here in this country, living ghosts, don't work for government. And we removed them from the payroll. And it was $1.8 million. It's in here. And then we went to the mobile money. We went after the mobile money. To prevent mobile money fraud. We saved $1.8 million in that quest, meaning preventing the government from losing that going forward. Then Liberian dollars, $131.2 million Liberian dollars in mobile money fraud. It was a total of $8.2 million. It's in here. You don't even have to hear this from me. But it's unfortunate, again, we don't have a reading culture, and some people are just bent on distracting Liberians and making sure that Liberians lose trust in their government, so they engage in all kinds of malicious campaign. But they know the facts, they know the reality, they read it, they have carpets. They choose to change the numbers to suit their cause. So the total here I've just read to you, 8.2 million United States dollars, 131.2 Liberian dollars. We see that. Then below here we even gave you a trend, and says that over the next 3-year period, if this trend of doing verification, personnel audit continues in government will be saving beyond. For each year we gave you a projection. And these people are not professionals. Some of them, they are not educated and went to school, but they're not educated, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's our problem in this country. That's why President Bwaka is placing emphasis on transforming the education sector, make sure most of the people get an opportunity to go to school and learn better. So we gave the trends. We said year 1, 2025, if the trend continues, we said it is possible that the government will save $8.8 million. We said it's possible. That is a trend. That is not a saving. And then year 2, we said it's possible that if the trend continues unabated, the government can save $9.3 million if we can continue with all of this. And we have the political support, the will from the president and the government. And then we said in 2027, if the trend continues, we could save up to $9.8 million. Telling the world and telling all of you people that there are prospects. That if we continue to fight the way we are fighting, to clean up our payroll, put in place systems like the automation that we are doing to the payroll system, integrating, enhancing it with different measures to lock it down so that it's not accessible to criminals. We will be able to save on a yearly basis these amounts. So this thing is here. Did you hear anything about 43 million or 48 million? No. But it's just intentional. Because the minds they have is criminal by nature, is natural. They have natural criminal minds. And that's what they're trying to use to distract Liberians from the good things that are happening in the country, the changes that are taking place, the responsible nature of governance that we are experiencing. But let me tell you the real story that you don't know and that they are hiding behind. You guys know when I engaged with the legislature last year, when former Speaker Jay Fonatikofa was Speaker, you guys know how many times I went up the hill, how many times I was cited to meet with the leadership. It was over one thing, one and only one thing. The Speaker has sent me this payroll. This is one Marvin Cole's stamp seal right here. He used to be chairperson on Rules, Order, and Administration. Below here, I will not allow you to take the picture of the names because we got some decent Liberians on this payroll. We got some decent Liberians. They are not all criminally placed on this, some decent Liberians. But I will show you something below here. You see signatures, you see seals and stamps. This one here is the former HR signature and his stamp. This one in the middle is Cole, Marvin Cole's signature. I'm saying Marvin Cole because for me, I reserve honorable and Mr. titles for people who deserve it. Yes. And here is his name, his signature, and his stamp. Here is Speaker Kofa's signature, name, and seal. This is the payroll that the office of the Speaker submitted to me in July of last year with a dollar value of $327,000, asking me, the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, to approve. My initial reaction to the Speaker was that this did not go through the established CSA protocols, because CSA has in his purview the central administrations of the Senate and the House. So I rejected the approval. I never approved this payroll. And the reason is that this payroll had a variance of $43,000. Keep that in mind in relation to the so-called criminal and malicious attack. It had a variance of what? $43,000. Why the variance? Because the original payroll that the CSA was approving on the monthly basis was $284,000. That's a legit payroll dollar value that I was approving on a monthly basis for the central administration. The Speaker and his team went ahead and increased it from $284 to $327 and demanded I approve the new payroll, which I rejected. That $43,000 was the one the Speaker and his team was trying to use to employ all these people you're talking about carrying out campaigns across the country. They are the ones on the payroll who were supposed to be receiving the difference, the $43,000. They were supposed to be receiving that money not as employees, but just as individuals at their whims and caprices that they can use anytime. Thank you. This is complete payroll fraud scheme that was in place that we busted. But let me tell you, maybe you still doubting. The Speaker and his team got so angry, they got so mad at me and cited me to a leadership meeting. When I was going to that leadership meeting, I prepared a full text and I asked the Ministry of Justice authorities to accompany me to that meeting. The Solicitor General accompanied me to that meeting with lawyers of the Ministry of Justice. I prepared a full text because I knew that this day would come. I knew that today was going to come. So I did not just go to extemporaneously respond to why I rejected, why I refused to approve this payroll. So I prepared this text and I read this text to the Speaker and the entire leadership of the House. I read it to them. It's not new. Today I have come here with copies of this text. They are up there for you, the media people. You will take it, you will go and discuss it, because it's public document, and the document is at the legislature. It was officially submitted by the Civil Service Agency. So now I told you to keep in mind the $43,000, right? I told you to keep in mind because it is that $43,000, and you know 1,000 is represented by K, right? So they only went and removed the K and put M. That's what they did criminally, and say that Minister Gafwan, a decent man, Josiah Joker, a decent man, got together and ate 43 million. But they even forgot to know the magnitude of 43 million. 43 million in this economy. 43 million in this economy at this time. And then they said, okay. They went back to their own drawing board and said, but let's increase it by 5, and they pushed it to 48 million. And came and designing all kinds of stuff, and they're on social media. That we're not running, like the president said, we're not running this government in social media. We're very responsible. We come with integrity. We are held at the highest standard than any government official, any set of government officials in this country, as far as history of governance in our country is concerned. This is the only government that is investigating itself every day. This is the only government that all the officials are subject to investigation from all integrated institutions. Where were they when they themselves were gang raping our economy, our social services, our governance structure, when they broke the political, economic, and social fabric of this country? Where were they? When no one there asked questions. When they ran Liberia as a criminal paradise. When Liberia lost its place within the Community of Nations. When we were not respected and honored by any measure. Where were they? But I tell you the truth, Liberians, the fact is that so much has been done, and so much has been done under 1 year. And we're now going to 2 years. In less than 2 years, so much has been done. And these guys fear that if we continue this trend, they're not going to have any space in the national discourse. Because most of them, like I said, they went to school, they sat in classrooms, but they never got educated. Unfortunately, they just got out with papers, and we know that. And so they can't go through any competitive process. No, they don't want it. They want us to remain the same. But this country is moving. Liberia is rising. Rising. So I just came to debunk their bold-faced lies and their malicious attack, and to let them know that we are not distracted by those. We are focused, determined, and that's why reform in our civil service is just moving on. It's not stopping, and it's not going to stop. Many of them are scared that we have instituted a testing system and that they're not going to have a time and an opportunity to come around the civil service. And that's the goal, to make the civil service less attractive for job seekers. And that's the reason why the Ministry of Labor and I have started to talk and work together about reviewing, through the President's mandate. The Minister and I have been having conversations about reviewing work permits issued to foreigners in this country, and how we can revoke those work permits and put Liberians in those jobs and give them thousands of jobs across the country. How we can make the private sector attractive and create jobs at concessions and at businesses, and put Liberians, thousands of jobs that are exclusively set aside for Liberians by law are occupied by foreigners. We know that we can generate resources when we issue work permits for those jobs, but we can even improve the economy when we give Liberian jobs. Those jobs, because when you give one Liberian a job, you are giving a whole family a job. You are lifting a family out of poverty. And they're scared. They're scared. They're afraid that this is exactly what the Liberian people want. So this thing is going to come to you, the media people, take it, discuss it in your talk shows and put it in your newspapers. I don't care. It's a public document. And it's available. It was officially submitted to the legislature. In fact, the speaker authorized in that meeting with me, the chief clerk, to make copies and give it to all the members of the leadership. They all have it. This document in my hands. It's an official document. So I made copies for you, that we gave them to you. The other thing I'm going to talk to you about is this thing in my hand, which also I made copies that I'm going to share with you. Is this thing in my hand. This paper is the report from the analysis that the CSA conducted on the House of Representatives supplementary payroll last year. When we conducted the analysis, we came here to MICAT after submitting it formally to the legislature, to the leadership. We submitted this to them. We came here to MICAT, and when I was coming here, I told the leadership of the House that I was coming here to discuss it publicly because it's of public interest. We came here and presented this report to you. But again, I'm making it available to you for the second time. The set is right there. You will get copies. In this report, the former leadership, Honour Speaker Kofa, they duplicated 17 civil service, prescribed civil service positions. Prescribed civil service positions, 17 of them they duplicated. I didn't tell you 17 roles that they assigned 17 people to. I said 17 positions, and I will give you an example of what I'm talking about. So take for example, the position of research officer. That is a position classified, prescribed by the CSA as a position within the CSA, research officer. I will tell you what it did. They simply went to the central administration payroll and they duplicated research officer 23 times. And the amount they were using to service the 23 false positions was $85,000 monthly. So the 25 research officer positions, they just grab it and put it on one list as a supplementary payroll. So you are talking about 17 of those positions. Research officers, office assistant, protocol officer. Office assistant, for example, they just duplicated 57 of them. Protocol officer, they duplicated 15 of them. And they just put everything on one list, and that list came out to 243 names of people who were not working for the central administration or the House of Representatives, but every month they were paying them. I just brought you, I didn't bring you all, but I just brought you 2 copies of the payrolls, the supplementary payrolls. I got them here. I have them. These are 2 copies of the supplementary payroll that they used to pay. I'm waving it because I don't want you to grab people's names. I don't have the right to share with you. But it's here. Anybody who's interested, come to me. I will show it to you, but you have to leave your cameras outside. You can't snap it. I will show it to you. A journalist, it's your right to know. Yes, I have it here. So this supplementary payroll analysis report that I sent to the House last year officially when I concluded the analysis, I also came here and presented to the public. It's no secret. I'm just letting you know how these guys gang raped our economy and how they are trying to come back to use the same thing to shoot us down. A group of people working under the leadership of President Boakai, a man of integrity, to help to fix this country, restore the country. This country is walking on its head with the 2 legs up. And President Boakai is trying to put the legs back down so it can look normal. You know human being when you're walking on your hands or your hair, even your friends see you, they will start running. Because you look abnormal, you are abnormal. That's what President Boakai is trying to do to fix this country, make it normal again. And now these guys have concocted, they form syndicates, the criminal syndicates, and every day they are on social media. That's the only way to do. I've said to most of them under their posts, look, you're my little brother, leave Facebook, try to go to school. Come to me and ask me how I can help lead you to making your life better so you can get a life. I've said that to them, so you can get a life. And they think that some of us got here, Daniel Sano got here automatically, just out of the blues. We took our time to go to school, to be processed, to be ready for this day. What they are doing, I tell some of them, I call them personally on the phone, I say, look, you have to be processed. Go through the Rex and file. And you're wasting your time. If you count the next 2-3 years you spend on social media without gaining anything that will better position you for service and for your personal development, the development of your family and the country, you'll be wasting your time and you'll be gone. And that's how people become evil and become very envious. So today I've come here to provide this clarification, and I want to say thanks to the ministry for the opportunity, as it has always done. In no way that the decent people in this government, President Boakai has assembled one of the best set of Liberians, best minds, to be able to transform this country and give the people the kind of country that they deserve. The country that we all have at memory. The mental picture that we have in our minds. The Liberia that we need. This team is capable of putting us on a trajectory of leading and succeeding in achieving that Liberia. So let me just let you know this before I take my seat and get your questions. While others are engaged in politics of deception, we remain focused on governance, accountability, and service to the people. The lies being spread are not just attacks on institutions, but attempts to hinder the momentum of national development. We will not be distracted. The Civil Service Agency will continue to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, efficiency, and transparency in public administration. The last time we appeared here, we told you this, that for the first time we put on the government's national payroll 600 healthcare volunteers. That's now good news for that set of people. Before the end of this quarter, we are putting the remaining 161 on the payroll. As I speak to you, our analysts are working with the folks at the Ministry of Health to do that. We put more than 40 pharmacists on the payroll. We put intern doctors, about 36 of them, on the payroll. These are people who were manifesting when the Buck administration took over for salary justice. These are people who manifested, who protested long before we came during the last 6 years. Many of them were threatened by the previous administration that if you protest, we'll replace you with foreign doctors. That's why when some of them came threatening the CSA that they will protest, I told them go and protest. You are being disingenuous. Because the previous administration threatened you that when you protest, they will replace you with foreign doctors. But this is a responsible government. We have created the opportunity for us to sit and talk through the possibilities of remunerating you, giving you wages justly for you to perform the services you continue to perform to the people. And we will not back down in this process. Today, where are they? They are on the payroll. Community health workers. When the former vice president stood at the ministerial complex in the ballroom and informed USAID that they were going to transition the 500 plus community health workers that USAID was supporting onto the national payroll, then when 1 year, 2023, not a single one of them got on the payroll. Today, I can proudly tell you that the Ministry of Health is processing 300 personnel action notices of those community health workers to come on the government's payroll. Before the end of the next quarter, we are bringing those people on the payroll. The remaining 200 plus, at the end of the next quarter, we will bring them on the payroll. You know why I'm making this confidently? Because this is a responsible government. We are not in the business of making political statements. We are in the business of working. What we tell you is what we do. It's practical. A lot is being done. A lot. Water and seawater. In LEC, unprecedented supply of water and electricity. When last we had this situation over the last 7 years? It's changing dramatically. Our roles. You know what? We got to professionalize the civil service to support these initiatives because we need professional people to carry out these development efforts, and we will continue to ensure a merit-based process in the civil service to professionalize it, make it productive, so that we can meet our contemporaries' standards. Mr. Acting Minister and my dear friend, Minister Sano, I just want to thank you for the opportunity as usual. And I hope this is good information for you, the media. And I hope you guys are not going to postpone on this because we're going to come back here. Thank you. Thank you. Please make sure